Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Albert, and welcome to an all-new video right here on Acast. I pray that everybody out there is having a safe, great, and healthy day, and of course, that everyone is out there spreading love, peace, and kindness to everyone around you. Guys, in today's video, we are going to be continuing on a previous video that I put up about a month or so ago about managing our emotions. It is a Bible study from the book of Psalms. I will leave a link in the description to the specific Bible study, and today we're going to be going over a few more sessions in that Bible study on how we can better manage our emotions. And with the world going absolutely nuts and things going crazy in the world, and it seems like are we ever going to get a break, this is a really useful, in my opinion, a useful Bible study that everybody can take something from. But before we get to any of that, let's go to our quote of the day, which is brought to us in part by A Fruitful Life. And it is, "Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself." That is from the book of John, chapter 15, verse 4. So guys, without any further ado, welcome to Acast. Alrighty guys, welcome back, and as you can see in today's video, we have another, again, lovely special guest, my beautiful mother. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Alright, so today we are talking about managing emotions. This is obviously part 2 of the first video, and this is all coming from the book of Psalms, and we have 3 more sessions that we're going to go over today, gratitude, anger, and contentment. And I thought my mother, having her 2 cents put in would be fun and more interesting and more insightful on today's video. The first one, we're talking about gratitude, which is more than just an attitude. And so your life will overflow with gratitude when you are convinced of God's love for you and are reminded of His love through creation, your salvation history, and His current provision for you. So when we're talking about having gratitude, it's talking about being thankful for things that you have and things, especially with the world going crazy as it is now, instead of focusing on all the negativity and all the horrible things that are going on around you, be grateful and have gratitude for the things that you do have and that you have been blessed with. Have you ever felt yourself being in a position to whereas you felt like you needed to start being more thankful instead of always just being negative about something?
Yes. Very often.
Very often.
More so this year.
Last
2020, yeah, because we're now in 21.
I think everybody kind of had that, especially in 2020 with all the craziness going on. So we're going to look in the book of Psalms, chapter 136, verses 1 through 26. And there is a verse that says, "His love endures forever," which is said after every verse. I'm going to skip I'll read it for the first verse, but after every verse after that, I'll just leave it out. But it says, "Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good. His love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of gods. Give thanks to the Lord of lords, to Him who alone does great wonders, who by His understanding made the heavens, who spread out the earth upon the waters, who made the great lights, the sun to govern the day, the moon and stars to govern the night. To Him who struck down the firstborn of Egypt, and brought Israel out from among them, with a mighty hand and outstretched arm. To Him who divided the Red Sea asunder, and brought Israel through the midst of it, but swept Pharaoh and his army into the Red Sea. To Him who led His people through the wilderness. To Him who struck down great kings, and killed mighty kings, Sihon, king of the Amorites, and Og, king of Bashan, and give their land as an inheritance to His servant Israel. He remembered us in our low estate, and freed us from our enemies. He gives food to every creature. Give thanks to the God of heaven. His love endures forever." Now, I think something that people, when we're talking about gratitude, I think most people who watch this or are watching this right now can really relate, especially through 2020, when it seems like you couldn't even have a positive attitude about anything because everything was so negative, everything was just annoying, you were just annoyed by everything, you were angry about everything. And so I feel like if you would take 5 seconds throughout each day, I do this every single night before I go to bed. I've said it in other videos where I thank God for every single thing that I have, big or small. I have a home, I have a job, I have a vehicle, but I also thank Him for the small things that I have. Things, that you don't even think about. I thank Him for, most people might find this funny or dumb, but I think I'm like, "Lord, thank You for the fan that I have that helps me sleep at night. Thank You for my ceiling fan. Thank You for my clothes, my underwear, my socks, my shoes, my hoodies." I thank you for the food, my cereal. And you might think I'm kidding, but I really do. I thank him every night. I thank him for all the video equipment that I have that I love doing videos with. Every single thing that you have. If you would take 5 minutes instead of just being negative about everything, and take 5 minutes and show gratitude and think of all the things that you do have, you would have a much more positive and better attitude. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it does. It changes you completely. To quit focusing on negative and just focus on the positive, and then you can really probably think of a lot more things once you realize that you have to be thankful for.
You do. And there were points in my life where I've been through pure hell. I've said it many times on my channel. And to whereas I was not able to be here at the house. And that was whenever I was starting to think, thank you for the small things that I have. Thank you that I have a job. My job gets my everlasting nerve all the time. I'm glad, and I don't make a whole lot of money on my job, but I'm thankful that I have a job. I'm thankful that I have coworkers the guy I work with is my best friend in the world besides my beautiful mother. Yes. I thank you for my wonderful supervisors. I have an amazing and I have a job. But not only to me, that's kind of a big thing. A job, vehicle, a house. But you got to think
because not everybody has a job.
No, not everybody has a house. Not everybody has even if you have an apartment that you're renting or you have a roommate, you're living with someone, you can afford your own home right now. Whatever the circumstance may be, instead of being, annoyed by it, instead of being negative about it, be thankful that you have it, because there's always people out there who do not have it. That have the things that you have. And reading through this particular section of Psalms, it brought me back to about a couple weeks ago. I watched a movie again that I've watched whenever I was little, and I've watched it a million times in my life, The Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston. You've watched it before.
Yeah, many times.
And that's exactly what most of this is talking about. It's talking about Moses bringing, all the people out of Egypt, bringing all the
and Egypt means bondage.
Yes.
So it's like a deliverance from all of the negativity, all of the horrible things. If you look at what Egypt means biblically.
So there you go. If you feel like in a metaphorical way, you feel like you're just being bounded down by things, and whether it's negativity, whether it's someone you don't get along with at work, someone you don't get along with in your house, or you're driving, you got road rage, or you're walking around Walmart, someone's annoying you at Walmart. Just think about instead, all right, for example, the job thing, or say, be thankful you got a job, be thankful you have a house. But if you have road rage and you're riding, you're driving your vehicle, instead of, being mad at the person who cut you off or whatever they did, be thankful that you got a vehicle, you got gas in your vehicle, you got four wheels that are taking you somewhere, when other people don't even have a vehicle. They got to depend on the bus, a taxi, and Uber, someone else to get right.
And there's different circumstances, because sometimes people either they can't afford it, or something's happened that they've lost it.
Exactly.
They've lost a job, so they made them lose their vehicle, or just the simplicity of things.
Exactly. You got to be thankful, have gratitude, which is bringing us back to wrapping this all up in this session is gratitude. To be thankful instead of being negative, the negative Nancy. Just be thankful for the things that you do have.
Negative Nancy to grateful. What was it? Negative Nancy to
Grateful Gert.
Grateful Gert.
Grateful Gert. Now, moving right along to our next session, we are going to be talking about anger. And I didn't know this until I started studying this, that the 3 sessions that we're going to go over today really circle back around to each other. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. We just talked about gratitude, which is being thankful. Now we're talking about anger, when your back is against the wall. Learn to keep anger from being destructive. Now it says that anger is a natural God-given emotion which, though potentially harmful, can be used constructively. The Psalms gives us examples of godly ways to express anger. And for this session here in a moment, we're going to be looking at the book of Psalms chapter 79, verses 1 through 13. Now it says that, we're able to use our anger in a constructive way. I don't know really exactly how to use anger in a constructive way. Do you?
Well, there is a righteous anger.
Oh, when
if you think about, even God Himself has a righteous anger.
Yes.
So the things that you see that's not right, that people's doing wrong, but you know that it's wrong, and you're like, God, this is wrong. But then you get angry about it, then you're not like, well, should I feel bad about that? Mm-hmm. Or, is this okay, God? I don't know what quite to do with this type of anger I've got. But there is a righteous anger, things that are just not right. But a lot of times, though, that's out of your control, and it's up to God, and and he will have justice regardless. But yeah, there's a righteous anger that he says is okay to have. So
I feel like those are angers that you are genuinely. It's okay to have those angers. It's not like you're just being petty or being, you know what I mean? I understand what you're saying. It's just one of those things that's kind of hard to put into words. But when we look at Psalms chapter 79, verses 1 through 13, it says, "O God, the nations have invaded your inheritance. They have defiled your holy temple. They have reduced Jerusalem to rubble. They have left the dead bodies of your servants as food for the birds of the sky, the flesh of your own people for the animals of the wild. They have poured out blood like water all around Jerusalem, and there is no one to bury the dead. We are objects of contempt to our neighbors, of scorn and derision to those around us. How long, Lord, will you be angry? Forever? How long will your jealousy burn like fire? Pour out your wrath on the nations that do not acknowledge you, on the kingdoms that do not call on your name, for they have devoured Jacob and devastated his homeland. Do not hold against us the sins of past generations. May your mercy come quickly to meet us, for we are in desperate need. Help us, God our Savior, for the glory of your name. Deliver us and forgive our sins for your name's sake. Why should the nations say, 'Where is their God?' Before our eyes, make known among the nations that you avenge the outpoured blood of your servants. May the groans of the prisoners come before you with your strong arm. Preserve those condemned to die. Pay back into the laps of our neighbors 7 times the contempt they have hurled at you, Lord. Then we, your people, the sheep of your pasture, will praise you forever. From generation to generation, we will proclaim your praise." Now, if anyone who has any kind of general knowledge and understanding of the Bible knows that God is a very jealous God. And one of his 10 commandments says, "Thou shalt not have no other God or idol before him." So I think that's exactly what they're kind of referring to here, is God being angry for all he's done for everybody, sending his son, Jesus Christ, down the cross. And then yet these people still refuse to worship him, to maybe even acknowledge that he is, there. So that kind of shows you the way that God expresses his anger to those who are, not believing in him or not being faithful to him, and you know what I mean?
yeah, not acknowledging him in all his ways.
But the thing is, anger is natural. It is a God-given emotion. So if you have it, pray about it. And that kind of is why I was talking about all these 3 sessions kind of going together, is when you're being angry about something at your job, something at your house, be thankful, have gratitude for those things you do have, and just pray for God to get you through the anger or the negative emotion that you are feeling at that moment.
Yeah, because a lot of times you get caught up in it, and it'll just keep taking you. You'll be angry, and then you'll be mad, and then you'll get depressed, and then you'll get bitter. And,
Yeah.
it repeats. It's a
like a
repeating
snowball
cycle.
effect.
You don't want to go that route. Believe me, we've all been there.
Exactly. We've all experienced
Try to
anger.
live and learn.
We've all experienced anger, so therefore, if you're feeling angry about something, just pray about it. I know that's something that's way easier said than done, but just pray about it and go back to gratitude and start thinking about the things that you do have that are around you, that you have been blessed with, and then that should
And the main thing,
help.
if you think about it, and God's word, he does say that justice is mine.
Yes.
The revenge is mine. So, no matter how it looks, and no matter if he just says, keep your mouth shut of something that you see that's not right.
How many times have he been telling you to shut up, and you just know
and
it's
you
harder?
don't, and then later on, though, you'll see where he's worked it out, and nothing what you would have been able to have said or an action you would have taken would have fixed it any better than what he did when he done it.
Exactly.
So I've seen that personally many times in my life. So the main thing is learn to keep your mouth shut.
You got to learn to shut up, and you got to learn to just
be still
have
and
faith.
let him be God.
Exactly.
That's what he says. Be still and let me be who I am.
Sometimes that can be the hardest thing you ever go through in your life. But I know through personal experience, and probably many people watching this know, that it can be done. It will be done. All you have to do is just have faith and pray for it. Moving right along to our final session that we're going to discuss in this video, we're going to be talking about contentment. And this is what is going to bring all 3 of these sessions together. Is we talked about anger, we talked about gratitude, and now we're going to be talking about contentment, which kind of relates to gratitude. Contentment is just realizing and being just peaceful, being happy with what you have, just being thankful, like I said with gratitude. That's kind of what contentment is, kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it's being peaceful, and no matter what your circumstances are, and that's a job in itself.
Yes, it is. When your soul is at rest, you learn to find serenity regardless of all the circumstances. We're going to be going to Psalms chapter 62, verses 1 through 12. And Psalm 62 offers ways to find inner rest despite our outer circumstances. The secret of contentment is looking to God rather than your circumstance to give you fulfillment and peace. Now, all of us have been through circumstances in our life to whereas you didn't feel, whether you just feel like it's not going to end, it's just going to keep on getting worse and worse and worse, and therefore it just feels like that's one of the times where it just gets hard to really just to have the faith and to be able to sit back and just be like, all right, be content with what I got and let God control the rest. Just give it all to Him.
Yeah, that's what he talks about when he says, rest in me and have peace, because if you're not, then you're not trusting in him, and then he doesn't like it when we don't trust in him, because we're basically saying, well, you're not who you say you are.
Yes.
We're not giving him the glory and the honor of who he is, because if we're not trusting in him that he ain't bigger than any problem or issue we're having, then that, I'm sure, is very upsetting to him. But that's also another work in progress in each individual. So that's not an easy task either.
I'm sure everybody out there has had some sort of experience in their life where they felt that they fell short of having peace or having faith in God. And that's just something, unfortunately, there's no other way to really describe it other than you just have to trust and to have that faith, because it can't just be something that just, there's something you could specifically say or something you could specifically do just to, and all of a sudden you have faith and you never worry about anything. You just have to continuously have that faith, continuously pray, and continuously believe. In order to have that faith, you have to believe that God will be in control and He will take control of the situation. Now, when we're looking at Psalm 62, it says, truly my soul finds rest in God. My salvation comes from Him. Truly, He is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. How long will you assault me? Would all of you throw me down, this leaning wall, this tottering fence? Surely they intend to topple me from my lofty place. They take delight in lies. With their mouth they bless, but in their hearts they curse. Yes, my soul, find rest in God. My hope comes from Him. Truly He is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken. My salvation and my honor depend on God. He is my mighty rock, my refuge. Trust in Him at all times, you people. Pour out your hearts to Him, for God is our refuge. Surely the lowborn are but a breath. The highborn are but a lie. If weighed on a balance, they are nothing. Together, they are only a breath. Do not trust in extortion or put vain hope in stolen goods. Though your riches increase, do not set your heart on them. One thing God has spoken, two things I have heard. Power belongs to you, God, and with you, Lord, is unfailing love. And you reward everyone according to what they have done. Now, there's two things in here that really stuck out to me. One is kind of talking about people who, with their mouth, they bless, in their hearts, they curse, kind of like two-faced people. And I think it's something that we have all dealt with. I know everybody has probably dealt at some point in their life about a two-faced person who will say something to your face, talk real good, but in their heart, they think cruel and mean thoughts about you. And I know at some point in my life, I know that I have, but I think we've all are guilty of that, of kind of being in our heart thinking and having feelings about someone that we know God would not want us to have towards them.
Well, the thing is, in the Bible it talks about God's ways are much higher than our ways.
Yeah.
And we may look at it one way, and it'd be totally different. We might not even see the things that we do until He reveals it to us and shows it through His Spirit. If you're His, He promises to do that, because He says that if He does not discipline you and teach you, then you're no child of His. So, but yeah, that a lot of times you don't realize you're like that, or a lot of times you think you're okay, and he shows you that you're not, or sometimes you think you're not okay, and He shows you, well, you're okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It goes right back into, you just have to have that faith and believe.
Trusting in Him for everything.
Every single thing. And the second thing that really stuck out to me was that something that I think a lot of people, probably 90% of this world, can really listen to and take something from, is do not put vain hope, excuse me. Though your riches increase, do not set your heart on them. So that means do not be so dependent on physical things and things that you have, like materialistic things. Do not be so dependent. Do not always want more. Just be thankful for the things you have. Be content with the things you have, and do not, have feelings that you feel like you need to have more in order to be happy. Just
And a
be
lot of
content.
times that is a fulfillment. Like a lot of people search for material things or other things too, but to feel that place, to where that place God has put in each individual, if they grab a hold of it, to feel it only, it's left empty for Him only, and He's the only one that will satisfy and fill that spot. That empty spot He leaves in every human.
Exactly.
And that is made for Him, but not everybody feels it with Him. A lot of times we feel it with other things, but you're never content and happy until that He's the one that fills that spot. You put Him there instead of something else or somebody else.
Exactly.
You know, because you could put people there. You could put materialism there.
Yeah.
You could put a lot of things there, but that's only for Him. And I think that's what we do sometimes as humans. We mess up in that area.
So I would like to thank Christianity Today for giving us this. I've used them before on my channel. They're absolutely amazing. This is part 2. Do you hear the train? It never fails. There won't be one go all day, and as soon as I do a video, a train's got to go through. But they do amazing Bible studies. Check them out. The link is in the description, christianitytoday.com. This is part 2 for the book of Psalms, Managing Your Emotions. Before we go today, I would like to give a shout out to two of my wonderful subscribers. The first one, I'm hoping I'm saying their name right, is Valizi Uchie, and the second one is YouTube Youngest Grandma Storytimes. They're always commenting on my stuff. Thank you guys so much. You all are amazing, and I hope that everybody out there is having a safe, great, and healthy day. Is there anything you'd like to add before we go?
No, if you have anything interesting to share with us, leave it in the comments.
There you go. And guys, until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and of course, as always, spread love, peace, and kindness to everyone around you. Bye, guys.